How's it going, guys? I'm Eric, and this is a 2024 Toyota Grand Highlander. And I bet if you're watching this video, you have a Toyota Highlander and you're wondering, should you upgrade to one of these Grand Highlanders from your Highlander? How different are the engine specs, and how really different is the space inside and outside of these cars? Is it really that much more grand? Well, find out in this video, you guys, so let's jump right into it. The Grand Highlander is 6.5 inches longer, 2 inches taller, and 2.3 inches wider than the standard Highlander. And overall, you can tell this thing is much more squared off and beefier in the rear end here. So let's jump into the rear cargo areas. Hit the little button here between the I and the G. And you're gonna reveal plenty of space back here. So let's pull up the third row and get to the numbers. Just grab these little latches here. Pull them up. 1, 2, woohoo. Just pop that up there and you're good to go. You can recline these by just lifting this little lever, pulling it back, so you have a nice little natural stance here. So in a standard Highlander, you actually have 16 cubic feet of space here, but behind the third row here in the Grand Highlander, you have 20.6 cubic feet of space. Now, we push this third row down, we lift up the lever, push it forward, and the headrest will collapse on the way down. Do it over here as well, and there you go. So here you can see the Grand Highlander is really starting to show some space with the third row down here. So in the standard Highlander, if you have the third row down, you actually have 48.4 cubic feet of space. Whereas in the Grand Highlander here, you have 57.9 cubic feet of space, which is getting very generous. Now let's pop the second row down here, and let's really reveal the massive amount of room you have in the Grand Highlander, which really makes it that much more crazy because it's really sweet how big it is. So over here on each side of the seats, you can see number 1, 2, and then the sliding lever. So to get these seats down, just click this up. It'll bring it halfway down. Make sure your headrest is all the way touching. Click number 2, or lift number 2, and then pull this and push it forward. And that will reveal your space. With the third row and the second row put down in the standard Highlander, you're actually gonna have 84.4 cubic feet of space. However, here in the Grand Highlander, you have 97.5 cubic feet of space. So you can see when you're looking in here, it just really is like a huge amount of space. I'm gonna climb in here and demonstrate the space you got. Like if you were ever to go camping, you could literally just throw a mattress back here and sleep. So if I'm all the way in here, obviously we have a little cubby over here. My head's all the way back, almost touching this seat. I still have about 2 feet behind me, basically of more space. So it's crazy. You could sleep probably 2 people here and a kid. Now just to demonstrate how easy it is to get in here, you pretty much can see you have tons of room to get in here with this second row all the way forward. Tons of room. I'm just gonna plop in here and bingo, we're back. So here we are in the back here in the Grand Highlander, and you can see we have so much space. There's actually just over 33 inches of legroom in this Grand Highlander if you have this second row put forward to a comfortable amount of space for the second row passengers. And there's a really cool feature here that if you look down here, there's a little lever that actually pushes this second row forward within one click. So let's click that. And it collapses the upper and pushes forward the lower so that you can just get out over here in the passenger side. And you can see here openly just how much space there is back here in the Grand Highlander. And this is really where you're going to find most of the space difference between the Highlander and the Grand Highlander is in the second and third row seats. You know, because it's made to make it so these back passengers, the third row and the second row, have much more space. There's more storage room, and there's more storage behind the third row seats, so it's just much more of an economical car and much more of a family-oriented car where you can fit so much more stuff. So as you can see behind the third row here, there is plenty of space, you know, just over 20 cubic feet of space in this Grand Highlander here. And in the XLE here, it even comes with a cover here that you can mount on the sides to be able to cover all your groceries or your belongings. Behind the second row, which is very generously spaced, we pull this down, that you have so much room back there. 3 people here, you got 3 people here in the second row, and you got 2 in the front, giving you an 8-person configuration. And in regards to bench seat versus captain's chair, here in the Grand Highlander, you can get a bench seat in the XLE as well as the Limited. In the Platinum, you cannot. Whereas in the standard Highlander, you can only get the bench seat leading all the way up through the XLE trim. Anything beyond that, you can only get captain's chairs. Hello there, Mr. Panda. And here in the front of the Grand Highlander, you can see it is very similar to that in the Toyota Highlander. So the real big difference here is definitely the cargo that we have just gone over. And next up, guys, is the engine. And just above your hood here, you're gonna see your latch right over here. You have 3 different powertrain options available and the same 2 transmission options available depending on whether you're going for the turbocharged engine or the hybrid engine. As a base in the Highlander and the Grand Highlander, you're going to have this here, a 2.4 liter turbocharged 4-cylinder engine with 265 horsepower and 310 pound-foot of torque. The second engine option is a 2.5 liter engine, non-turbo, with 243 horsepower and 186 pound-foot of torque. And this entry-level hybrid system in both the Highlander and the Grand Highlander are available all the way from the LE in the Highlander all the way up to the limited trim, and in the Grand Highlander is available from the XLE and the limited trim. And the last most powerful engine option in the Toyota hybrid lineup is a 2.4 liter turbocharged engine, just like you see here, except it is matched to a hybrid battery and it produces 362 horsepower and 400 pound-foot of torque. This one has a 1.4 kilowatt per hour battery. This Hybrid Max engine is available in the Limited and the Platinum in the Grand Highlander. However, it is only available in the Limited in the Standard Highlander. And across your Highlander or your Grand Highlander, you have 2 transmission options. The standard 2.4 turbocharged engines have a ACEN 8-speed transmission, which is known to be very reliable. Whereas the hybrid engines all come with the exact same eCVT transmission, which is used in all of the Toyota hybrid engines in these bigger cars like the Toyota Sienna, the RAV4, the Highlander, and the Grand Highlander. So now let's go over the trim options between the Highlander and the Grand Highlander. So the Highlander comes in an LE, an XLE, an XSE, and a limited trim setup. Whereas the Grand Highlander only has 3 trim packages, which is the XLE, the limited, and the platinum trims. In the US, the Highlander has a front-wheel drive option for every trim setup. And the Grand Highlander, you have only a front-wheel drive setup available for the entry-level XLE. In both the Highlander and the Grand Highlander, the fuel economy numbers are very similar considering it's the same powertrains and the body is slightly larger. Between all of the gas models of the Grand Highlander and the Highlander, you have between 20 and 24 miles to the gallon between the city and the highway. On the initial hybrid option for the Highlander and the Grand Highlander, you have a city estimation of 35 miles to the gallon and a highway of 33 to 34 miles to the gallon with a combined of between 31 and 32. Whereas for the Hybrid Max, 26 city, 27 highway, and a 27 combined. So as you can see, when you jump into that final Hybrid Max powertrain system, your fuel economy actually decreases. And if fuel economy is what you're going for, then you're going to want to go for the standard hybrid system, which is going to get you that 35 city and the 33 highway. And just remember, your fuel economy numbers can be different depending on who's driving the car and how aggressive you shift, how aggressive you accelerate. So it really depends. And a lot of people have posted online that these numbers may not be the most accurate. So just take them with a grain of salt. And just remember, if you want to achieve these numbers, you're going to have to really go light with your footing on that gas pedal. And that's it for this video, guys. So if you stuck around to the end of this video, that means a lot. And if you could smash that like button and maybe even consider subscribing, that would be incredible because it's going to help me out a lot, especially with a channel my size. Every like and every subscribe counts. And if you guys want to see anything specific in some videos, you guys want to see some cars covered, or you want to know something else about the Grand Highlander here, then just shoot them down in the comments or shoot me a message and we'll see if we can get that out to you guys. And anyway, hope to see you guys in the next video. Peace. Have a good one. Oh.